Welcome to the deep dive. We're diving into natural hydrogen today. You guys sent us a ton of research and articles on this, and we're going to try to make sense of it all.
Yeah, it's a really hot topic right now. Natural hydrogen is exactly what it sounds like, right? It's hydrogen gas found naturally in underground deposits.
So instead of digging up, fossilized sunshine from millions of years ago, we're talking about tapping into this natural hydrogen.
Yeah.
Which is like a constantly renewed source, right?
Yeah, that's the hope, and it's really attracting a lot of companies who are looking to be the modern-day wildcatters.
Oh, I like that. Like the early days of oil exploration, but with a clean energy source.
Exactly. There's a lot of excitement surrounding natural hydrogen, and, there's a lot of possibility.
So how does it actually form, this natural hydrogen?
So basically, deep underground water reacts with iron minerals at really high temperatures. And this reaction produces hydrogen gas, which can then get trapped in these porous rock formations.
Okay, so nature's making hydrogen for us. Now, some of the articles you sent mentioned a village in Mali that's actually powered by natural hydrogen. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, the village of Bourakébougou. They made an incredible discovery. They were drilling a well for water and hit a pocket of nearly pure hydrogen gas.
Wow. Talk about being in the right place at the right time. So they're actually using this hydrogen to power their village.
They are. A company called Hydroma helped them set up a system to utilize the hydrogen. And it brought electricity to the village for the very first time. It's been really transformative, especially for the kids in the village who can now study at night.
That's amazing. It really brings home the potential impact natural hydrogen could have, especially for places that lack access to reliable energy.
It really is a powerful example. And Hydroma has even bigger plans. They want to bolster the power grid in Mali using natural hydrogen, and maybe even export hydrogen to Europe.
That's ambitious. But I imagine there's some challenges as well.
Oh, of course. Mali's political situation is really unstable, which makes developing any kind of energy infrastructure difficult.
Right. So while that's inspiring, it also kind of highlights the complexities of bringing natural hydrogen to the world stage. Now, you also sent some information about a potential natural hydrogen hotspot right here in the U.S., something to do with the Midcontinent Rift.
Yeah. The Midcontinent Rift System, a billion-year-old scar. It stretches from Lake Superior all the way down to Kansas.
Hold on, the continent almost split in two. I need to hear more about this.
It's pretty crazy. So it didn't fully split, but the rift left behind these unique rock formations. And scientists think these formations could be ideal for trapping natural hydrogen.
So this ancient near miss might be the key to our clean energy future. That's kind of wild.
It is. The USGS estimates tens of millions to tens of billions of megatons of hydrogen could be trapped in the Earth's crust globally. And a big chunk of that could be right here in the Midcontinent Rift.
Wow, those are some big numbers. So where in this massive rift are people actually looking for natural hydrogen?
Well, there's a company called Natural Hydrogen Energy. They've already drilled a test well in Nebraska, near Geneva, right in the heart of the rift. And the results are looking pretty promising.
So the hunt is on.
Yeah.
I read that the founder of Natural Hydrogen Energy, Vyacheslav Zagonek, was inspired by that Mali discovery we talked about.
He was. He was actually a chemist, but he switched to geochemistry.
Wow.
And became a pioneer in this emerging field, all because of the potential of natural hydrogen.
That's quite a leap of faith. Sounds like he really believes in the future of natural hydrogen.
He does. He's been quoted saying, 5 years ago, only a handful of companies were working on natural hydrogen. This year, I counted around 50 already. I believe that next year that growth will be even faster and we will see hundreds of companies.
Wow. It sounds like we're on the cusp of something big here.
Yeah.
Now, we've talked about how natural hydrogen forms where it's being found, but how does it actually stack up against other ways of producing hydrogen?
That's a great question. So most hydrogen production falls into two categories. You've got gray hydrogen and green hydrogen. Gray hydrogen is the most common. It's made from fossil fuels. So it comes with a pretty hefty carbon footprint.
So not exactly the clean solution we're looking for. What about green hydrogen?
Green hydrogen is produced using renewable energy, like solar and wind. So it's clean, but it's also significantly more expensive to produce.
So we've got the cheap and dirty option and the clean but pricey option. Where does natural hydrogen fit in?
That's what's so interesting about natural hydrogen. It has the potential to be much cheaper to produce than green hydrogen.
Okay.
Some estimates even say it could be cheaper than gray hydrogen.
So cleaner than gray hydrogen and cheaper than green hydrogen. Sounds like a win-win. But I'm sure it's not quite that simple. There have to be some challenges.
Oh, you're absolutely right. It's still early days. And there are some big hurdles to overcome.
Like what?
Well, first of all, we're still learning about natural hydrogen, how it forms, how it migrates underground, how it accumulates.
Yeah.
We need better exploration techniques to pinpoint those hydrogen hotspots.
So it's not as simple as just drilling a well and striking hydrogen gold.
Not quite. And then even if we find it, there's the challenge of getting it out of the ground and transporting it to where it's needed.
Right. Transporting and storing hydrogen is not easy. I mean, it's highly flammable, right?
Yeah, and it's the lightest element. So containing it is tricky. And its reactivity means safety is a big concern. We need new technologies and infrastructure specifically designed for handling hydrogen.
So it's not just about finding it. It's about figuring out how to manage it safely and efficiently. What about the existing infrastructure we have for oil and gas? Can we repurpose that?
It's not that easy. We might be able to adapt some of it, but we'll likely need new pipelines and storage facilities made for hydrogen, which is a huge undertaking.
Right. And I imagine there could be public resistance to that kind of new infrastructure, especially when you're talking about pipelines.
Yeah, for sure.
Sounds like there's some major hurdles. But this potential is sparking a global race to find and use this resource. Tell me more about that.
It's true. It's not just small companies like Natural Hydrogen Energy. We're seeing interest from venture capital firms, governments, and even individuals like Bill Gates are investing in natural hydrogen companies.
Well, so the big players are starting to take notice.
They are. And the major oil and gas companies, they're watching from the sidelines right now. But they have the resources and the know-how to become major players if natural hydrogen really takes off.
It's amazing to see how this is all unfolding. I feel like we're witnessing the birth of a new energy frontier. We've covered what natural hydrogen is, how it forms, where it's being found. We've touched on the potential benefits and the challenges. But there's still so much more to explore.
There is. We need to dive deeper into those technologies being developed to store and transport hydrogen. Talk about the economics of this new industry, and consider the wider societal and environmental implications of a hydrogen-powered future.
Well, I'm ready to keep digging. Let's take a moment to gather our thoughts, and then we'll jump back in with a look at some of the most exciting natural hydrogen projects happening around the world. Okay, so let's jump back into this natural hydrogen deep dive. Now we've laid the groundwork. I'm ready to hear about those exciting projects happening around the world. Where should we start?
Well, we talked about Mali and Nebraska, but the search for natural hydrogen is really a global thing. One discovery that caught my eye was in France just this summer.
France. That's interesting. I always think of France as being, a leader in nuclear energy.
They are. But even France is exploring the potential of natural hydrogen. A group of researchers were studying methane gas in this mining basin in Lorraine.
Okay.
And they stumbled upon a significant accumulation of natural hydrogen, totally by accident.
Another accidental discovery. So what's so special about this French find?
Well, it's the largest deposit of natural hydrogen found so far. And it was totally unexpected. They weren't even looking for it. Shows how much we still don't know.
Right, like we're just scratching the surface. Are there any other clues that could help us find potential hydrogen hotspots?
Yeah, there are some pretty intriguing possibilities. Have you ever heard of fairy circles?
Fairy circles, like something out of a storybook.
Not quite. But they are pretty mysterious. They're these barren, circular patches of land. They pop up in arid regions, like the Namib Desert in Africa, and parts of Australia.
Okay.
Scientists have debated their origins for years. But one theory suggests they could be connected to hydrogen gas escaping from the Earth's crust.
So these mysterious circles could be marking spots where hydrogen is seeping out.
Yeah, it's a really cool possibility. And if it's true, it could mean there are massive reserves of natural hydrogen hidden beneath these desolate landscapes.
Wow. Okay, now my mind is blown. So we've got accidental discoveries in France, mysterious fairy circles in Africa and Australia. Where else are people looking?
Well, back here in the U.S., the USGS is working on a project that's generating a lot of buzz.
Okay.
They're creating a map of potential natural hydrogen hotspots across the country.
A treasure map for hydrogen. When can we see this map?
They're aiming to release it sometime next year. It'll highlight areas where the geology is right for natural hydrogen accumulation.
I bet that'll be super valuable for exploration companies.
It will be.
Any hints about which parts of the U.S. are looking promising?
Early data suggests that both the East Coast and the West Coast have good potential. And of course, there's the Midcontinent Rift.
So the U.S. could be sitting on a hydrogen gold mine. Even with this map, finding natural hydrogen is still going to be tough.
Oh yeah, for sure. The map will provide a good overview, but it's not going to tell you exactly where to drill. It'll still take geological expertise and advanced technology. And some luck.
Well, I think those modern-day wildcatters are up to the challenge. But as we've been talking about, natural hydrogen is not just about finding it, it's also about storing it and transporting it right.
You're right. That's one of the biggest challenges. Hydrogen is really hard to handle. It's so light. It loves to leak. Conventional storage methods aren't really ideal. We need to come up with better solutions.
So what are the options? What kind of storage solutions are being worked on?
Well, one option is geological storage, basically storing hydrogen in underground formations, like
Yeah.
salt caverns or depleted oil and gas fields. These natural containers could hold a huge amount of hydrogen.
So we could use the Earth itself as a giant hydrogen tank.
Exactly. We're already doing this with natural gas storage, so we have some experience. Another approach is to develop new materials that can absorb and release hydrogen really effectively,
Okay.
like a sponge for hydrogen.
A hydrogen sponge, how would that work?
Scientists are experimenting with different materials, like metal hydrides, carbon-based materials. To create these hydrogen sponges, they can soak up a lot of hydrogen and then release it when needed, making them perfect for storage and transport.
This is also fascinating. But how long until we can actually use natural hydrogen to power our lives?
That is the question, isn't it? And there's no easy answer, unfortunately. It all depends on how quickly we can overcome these technical challenges, and how much natural hydrogen is really out there, and how accessible it is.
So we're still in that waiting game phase.
For now, yeah. But research and development is moving really fast. There's a real push to find cleaner energy. And natural hydrogen has caught the attention of a lot of people. I think we'll see some big progress in the coming years.
Well, I'll be following this story closely, that's for sure. It feels like we could be on the verge of a major energy revolution.
It does. Natural hydrogen has the potential to completely change how we power the world. But before we get too excited, it's important to remember that natural hydrogen isn't going to solve climate change on its own.
Right, it's just one piece of the puzzle.
Exactly. We still need to cut back on fossil fuels, invest in renewables like solar and wind, and be more sustainable in everything we do.
You're absolutely right. This is a very exciting development, but it's not a reason to slow down on climate action. We need to keep pushing forward.
I couldn't agree more. It's going to take a multi-pronged approach to tackle this problem. But the emergence of natural hydrogen gives me hope that we can find innovative solutions and create a better future for generations to come.
Well said. This has been such a great conversation. I feel like I've learned a lot about this whole new field, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for natural hydrogen. But before we wrap up, I'd love to get your thoughts on the bigger picture. We've talked about the science, the technology, and the economics. But what about the societal impact? How do you think natural hydrogen could change the world as we know it?
That's a big question. It's worth thinking about. A plentiful, clean energy source could have far-reaching implications. On the plus side, it could lead to more energy independence for countries, less tension over energy resources, and a big drop in greenhouse gas emissions.
Wow.
It could also lead to a ton of innovation, creating new industries and jobs. Imagine a world powered by cheap, clean hydrogen, produced right here on Earth. It could transform transportation, manufacturing, agriculture, you name it.
That's amazing. But I imagine there could also be some potential downsides.
Of course, anytime there's a big shift in energy, there will be winners and losers. Industries tied to fossil fuels could struggle. There could be some economic and social upheaval as we transition. And we need to be mindful of the environmental impact of extracting natural hydrogen. We have to make sure it's done responsibly and sustainably to minimize any damage.
So responsible and ethical development is key.
Exactly. We need to make sure this new energy benefits everyone, not just a few. Access and equity are super important.
Those are all really important points. And it sounds like we need to start thinking about these things now before natural hydrogen becomes a major player.
Absolutely. We need to have an open public conversation about the good and the bad of natural hydrogen. We need to talk to policymakers, industry leaders, scientists, communities, to make sure this new energy source is developed in a way that benefits everyone.
This has been an incredibly thought-provoking deep dive, and I appreciate your insights.
It's been my pleasure. It's always exciting to explore new frontiers, and natural hydrogen is definitely one of those.
Well, dear listener, I hope you've enjoyed this journey into the world of natural hydrogen. We've talked about a lot, from the basic science to the potential global impact. But this is still early days. There's much more to learn and discover.
As this story unfolds, it's important to remember that natural hydrogen isn't just about science or technology.
Right.
It's a human story.
A story about our quest for a cleaner, more sustainable future.
Yeah, and that story is being written right now by scientists, entrepreneurs, policymakers, and everyday people like you.
Exactly. And as we move forward, we need to ask ourselves, what role will we play in this energy revolution? What kind of future do we want to create?
Those are good questions to think about.
And with that, we're going to take a short pause, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back to wrap up our natural hydrogen deep dive with some final thoughts. And we're back for our final thoughts on natural hydrogen. I have to say, I'm feeling a lot more knowledgeable about this whole thing.
It's been a great conversation. Yeah, we've explored a lot of different angles, haven't we? The science, the tech, the challenges, the bigger picture.
Right. And in this last part, I really want to focus on that bigger picture. You know, if natural hydrogen really takes off, what kind of world are we looking at? Paint me a picture.
One of the most exciting things about natural hydrogen is its potential to change the whole geopolitics of energy. Imagine countries being less dependent on those energy imports, especially from those unstable regions.
Yeah, fewer conflicts over resources. That would be huge.
It could happen. Natural hydrogen could give countries more control over their own energy, less vulnerable to price swings and supply disruptions.
And what about on an individual level? What about the economic opportunity?
Oh, absolutely. We could see a ton of new jobs and businesses, whole new industries popping up around this clean energy source. Think about everything from exploring and extracting it to storing it, transporting it, developing new ways to use it. It could really boost the economy.
It does feel like we're talking about a whole new way of powering the world. But I know there are going to be some bumps in the road. What are some of the things we need to watch out for?
That's a good point. We need to be realistic. A big shift towards natural hydrogen could disrupt those existing industries, especially the fossil fuel industry, which could mean job losses and economic problems in some places.
So we have to make sure we're managing this transition the right way.
Yeah.
And helping those who are affected.
Yeah, exactly. We need to think about retraining programs, investing in new industries, and creating policies that help communities adapt. And of course, we can't forget about the potential environmental impacts of natural hydrogen.
Right. We don't want to create new problems while trying to solve old ones.
Exactly. We need to do this right. Sustainable development is key. We need to minimize damage to ecosystems, manage water resources carefully, and make sure the whole process from start to finish is as clean as possible.
And we have to make sure this clean energy revolution benefits everyone, not just a select few.
Absolutely. Natural hydrogen needs to contribute to a fairer world, where clean and affordable energy is available to everyone, no matter where they live or how much money they make.
These are all really important things to keep in mind. And it sounds like we need to be having these discussions now.
I agree. We can't wait. We need open and honest conversations about the good and the bad of natural hydrogen. We need to bring everyone to the table, policymakers, industry folks, scientists, communities, so we can develop this resource the right way.
This has been such a fantastic deep dive. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise.
It's been a pleasure. Natural hydrogen is such a fascinating topic, and there's still so much to discover.
I know, and I'm excited to see what the future holds. But I want to leave our listeners with one last thought. Natural hydrogen gives us a glimpse of a cleaner and healthier future. But making that vision a reality is going to take more than just new technology. It's going to take all of us asking questions, demanding responsible development, and working together to create a future where everyone benefits from clean energy.
Couldn't have said it better myself. The future of energy is in our hands. So keep learning, keep exploring, and keep pushing for what's right.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into natural hydrogen, and until next time, keep diving deep.
If you enjoyed this video, please consider supporting this channel by hitting the subscribe and like buttons. This will help the channel grow and expand on the journey we have begun together here at AI Meets You.